Welcome to Macau. It is the 70th Macau Grand Prix, and it is a race back for Formula 3 cars for the first time since 2019. And the qualifying race for tomorrow's Grand Prix is about to get underway. The pit lane is open, and the cars making their way round to the grid, ready for this qualifying race, the result of which determines, after 10 laps, the order that they will start tomorrow's 15-lap Grand Prix, which also constitutes the FIA Formula 3 World Cup. It's a fascinating entry for this year's race because it brings many drivers that have been racing this year, as ever, in the FIA Formula 3 Championship, as you would expect, but it also, because Formula 3 hasn't been here for a few years and therefore drivers haven't also been able to travel to Macau, it brings some people that have been off racing Formula 2 and they've stepped back to F3. So that they can come and race here. You've got a number of returning drivers, not only to the category, but Macau as well, such as former winners Richard Verschoor and Dan Ticktum. And you've got people that have never raced here and never raced a Formula 3 car before as well, like Alex Dunn, who's been impressive over the course of this weekend. So it's been a really interesting entry, a really interesting set of 2 free practice sessions and 2 qualifying sessions. And qualifying, incidentally, has been 1 session Thursday, 1 Friday. So free practice in the morning, qualifying in the afternoon. And that has given us a grid based on a driver's better time out of the 2 sessions, like the old days, rather than aggregated times or combining or taking it only after the second session. It has been like the old days of looking for a better time. And yesterday's was, for some, quicker, for others slower. So a number of drivers had to rely on their Thursday time, but it was a Friday time that gave pole position to Luke Browning, which has been one of the big stories of the weekend. Luke's had a tough debut season in FIA Formula 3. He was 15th in the championship, 2nd at Barcelona as his best result, and yet he comes here and has looked really impressive. The other driver that's been up at the pointy end of the times all weekend, Gabriele Nini, he was a race winner in FIA F3 this year, but was only 7th in the championship. Now, everybody in the same car, of course, the Dallara F3 2019 chassis. They've got Macau 3.4-litre engines, 6-speed gearboxes, and they generate 380 brake horsepower. These are serious rocket ships, far advanced, far more powerful from those old 2-litre F3 cars that dominated the Macau Grand Prix winners list for such a long time. 40 years, incidentally, since F3 first came here, 1983, as Senna the winner. And you look at an amazing list of names that have raced and won here ever since within that F3 era. David Anderson trackside. Alan Hyde is down on the grid, and we'll join Alan shortly once the cars have made it into position. Because with the pit lane being open for a further couple of minutes, some of the drivers are electing to do an extra lap through the pit lane, just another sighting lap, just to have a look at what the track is like, because of course it sounds obvious, but to make the point, you can't test here, and every little bit of track time and mileage is all fantastic experience. Very, very useful indeed. So just another look at the circuit is worthwhile, and things slightly delayed here because we had a large accident in the previous FIA GT World Cup qualification race. The race did resume, but then we've had a bit of work between races on the barriers just to make sure that they are ready for Formula 3 cars. So that's the reason that we have had the timetable slip slightly. So the cars to the grid, and then we will have the drivers very shortly, perhaps in some cases getting out of the cars. We've got 10 minutes or so before the formation lap starts, and that's 10 minutes after the pit lane closes. So the pit lane stays open for 10 minutes. There's 10 minutes on the grid for the countdown, 10-minute board, 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute board. Engineers off the grid, engines fire, final formation lap. Everybody on Pirelli rubber as well. Pirelli, of course, the tyre supplier for GT racing globally for both categories, and the same for FIA Formula 3 and Formula 2, so continuing that relationship as well. So some of the drivers have a feel for car and tyre, others still learning all the time. There is the pole position driver then, that is Luke Browning, comes from Kingsley, near Frodsham in Cheshire, not far from Alton Park, and the British driver who was 15th in the championship this year, last year's GB3 champion back in 2022, the one-make sort of sub-F3, but F3 style championship. He also won the Aston Martin BRDC Young Driver of the Year award. British F4 champion in 2020, came out of the Junior Saloon Car Championship, then Junior Ginettas, 4 single-seaters beckoned, and Luke Browning just has looked so good all weekend. There's something about Macau that in some cases suits the driver, in other cases seems to intimidate. But Luke, straight away from the very start of the first free practice session, seemed to be confident with the circuit and has been looking very, very happy around here. But whether he's going to be able to convert pole into a qualification race win, we will see. Now, let's catch up with one or two of the drivers, because down on the grid is Alan Hyde.
In the sunshine here at Macau, I'm on pole position and standing next to Luke Browning's car. The team are down here just making sure that everything is right with the car, with a laptop plugged in. But Luke has said that I can go in and have a quick chat to him. Luke, absolutely amazing. You've not been to this place before, but you've absolutely murdered it so far.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it so far. This place is so special. Yeah, super thankful to be here in the first place, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting racing now.
Right, now, can I just ask, you've done simulators of this track, I'm sure, an awful lot over the build-up to this race. Is it anything like being on the circuit itself or not?
Nothing can prepare you for what you're going to experience here. Macau is Macau. Every day the track's different. Today may be different to qualifying and may see a shake-up. It's a crazy place, it really is, but you know, the fans are out here in force, and yeah, generally I've absolutely loved my experience so far. I'm hoping to top it off in style.
Luke, best of luck, and thank you for talking to us down here on pole position. Let me just extricate myself, and we're going to walk down the grid just a little bit and see what else we can get the opportunity to have a chat to if we just move past the Dino Bogdanovic car. And as you can see, all the glamour and the glitz in the build-up to this race, alongside Isaac Hadjar. Marcus Armstrong is next, alongside Alex Dunn. I'm going to see if I can have a chat to Alex Dunn, who's over here. He's another driver that has started his single-seater career in the UK, and photographic opportunities in front. Let me see if I can dive in and have a word to Alex. I get a thumbs up. Alex, how happy were you with performance yesterday? You've never been to this place before. It's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I think coming into the weekend with the amount of experience I've had in the car, I think if you told me that I was going to be disappointed with qualifying sixth, I definitely would have taken it. So, yeah, you know, I think I probably didn't maximise the potential we had in the car in qualifying, but, you know, then again, I think it's Macau, and starting in the top six, you can race from there. So I'm looking forward to the race. Is
it a sort of a pinch me moment when you go around the gear circuit sometimes?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, this track is pretty incredible. You know, especially in a car like this, I've never experienced anything like it. Be so close to the wall throughout the whole lap is something pretty special.
You're doing a grand job so far, Alex. Good luck. Thank you very much indeed. That's Alex Dunn, who is down there, qualifies in sixth place. I'm going to carry on walking and see if I can just get past Oliver Goetz's car. He's getting ready for the start. And in the sunshine, it's really warm down here. Dennis Hauger's car just over there to the right. Ugo Chukwu. And he's underneath the umbrella. He's visualising the start of the race. His eyes firmly focused ahead of him. And if we carry on walking, we might hopefully get to a double winner here at Macau. And walk this way with me, if you please, because we'll hopefully get to Dan Ticktum, who is down here, a double winner here at Macau. I would love to have a chat to him, and he nods and says that I can come forward and have a little chat to him. Hey, Dan. First, oh, are you talking in the ear? I can talk to you. Come back to Macau. The opportunity this weekend of a hat-trick at Macau is too tantalising to miss, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be quite tough, there's no doubt. But, you know, anything can happen. Can quite easily do 5 cars at the start, and then you're well into the top 10, and, you know, you never know what happens here. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say we haven't quite had the pace so far this weekend, but I'll do the best I can, hopefully get a good start, and yeah, put myself in a good position for tomorrow.
Brilliant, Dan. Thank you very much indeed to Dan Ticktum, double winner here. Yeah, so 5 cars at the start. That's something to look forward to, isn't it? Let me see who else I can have a chat to. Maybe I can have a quick chat to Sophia Flörsch, who is here. Just a very quick word with Sophia. Can I talk to you? Is that okay? Can I say? No, I'm not going to get a chance to speak to Sophia Flörsch, so I think probably that's about it from the grid. In the sunshine, the qualification race about to get underway.
Alan, thanks very much. Good to hear from the drivers then on the grid, and there will be no doubt an awful lot of stories after the race that we're about to enjoy. Some will be good stories, some will be hard luck stories. The 5-minute board has just been shown, so the grid is starting to empty, and therefore before much longer it'll be just the one engineer who is responsible for firing up the engine and the driver. Nothing else on the grid, nobody else there. One more formation lap, green flag that to get warmth into the tyres, and then we will go racing with Luke Browning on pole position and Gabriele Mini second ahead of Dina Beganovic and Isaac Hadjar on row 2. The third row, another returnee to Macau and Formula 3 from racing in America, Marcus Armstrong with Alex Dunn very impressively 6th ahead of Oliver Goethe and Dennis Hauger, another returnee. Newcomer, Ugo Ugachukwu, new to F3 machinery, 9th ahead of Mari Boyer, Pepe Marti and a Macau winner, Richard Verschoor. Dan Tickton, double winner, is next ahead of Paul Aron and Nikola Tsolov. Zane Maloney, the driver from Barbados, will be starting 16th on this grid, ahead in turn of Sophia Flörsch and Charlie Wurtz. Then it is Noah Leon and Roman Stanek. Max Esterson, another of the many newcomers to the circuit. Lawrence van Huppen, newcomer to F3 and Macau, is ahead of Sebastian Montoya and Christian Mansell. Peruvian Matthias Zagazeta rounds out the grid, accompanied by Australian Tommy Smith. That's the 26-strong entry then, with a real mix of people, as I say, that have been racing in and winning in FIA F3 this season past. Other drivers that have been racing in Formula 2 and are stepping down to make sure they can have a race at Macau in their career, and others stepping up to make sure they can race at Macau. Isaac Hadjar, you look at there, another of the high-tech Pulse 8 drivers, teammate to Luke Browning, the French-Algerian driver. There is 29, Marcus Armstrong, the New Zealander, having been at Chip Ganassi Racing in America this year. The lure of Macau has tempted him back to a place that he finished 8th at in 2018 and 2019. And Alex Dunn, who has been the British Formula 4 champion last year and second in GB3 this year, has been very, very impressive indeed. He will line up 6th. 7th on the grid, Oliver Goethe. He was the winner at Silverstone in FIA Formula 3 this year. His brother Benjamin Goethe, GT racer, Dad Roald, is the man behind the amazing Gulf Rothco collection. That is Dennis Hauger. He starts 8th on the grid. Last minute switch really to take over the car that was earmarked initially for Franco Colapinto, but Dennis Hauger, the 2021 FIA Formula 3 champion, give him a nod and he will drive it. And then for Trident Motorsport, number 3, the very tall American teenager Ugo Ugachukwu, who is the Euro 4 champion. He's on the McLaren driver development program. Number 28 you see there is Mari Boyer, who had 1 podium in FIA Formula 3 this year. And then next on the grid is number 15, which is the Campos car of the Spanish driver Pepe Marti, who had 3 wins on his way to 5th in the championship this year. Richard Verschoor was the winner here the last time Formula 3 raced in Macau. That was in 2019, and has come back from Formula 2 in order to make sure that he can race here once again with, in a sense, nothing to prove. And this man's got 2 wins, Dan Tickton. But starting as he is 13th on the grid, there's a lot of work to be done. But as he was suggesting, a good start will do some of the work for him. There is Paul Aron, the Estonian driver, a win and 3 thirds in FIA F3, 3rd in the championship this year. One of those wins came at the Red Bull Ring. That's Nikola Tsolov, who had a couple of accidents yesterday, so does need to keep off the wall. The Alpine Academy driver, Spanish F4 champion in 2022. Number 24 is Zane Maloney from Barbados, part of the Red Bull program, and the 2019 British Formula 4 champion. He was 2nd in FIA Formula 3 in 2022, and this year stepped up to Formula 2, 10th with 4 podium finishes. Sophia Flörsch there returning to Macau as engines now fire. Number 6, you've got Charlie Wurtz, one of the 2 racing sons of Alex Wurtz, UAE Formula 4 champion, Formula Regional Oceania champion, but new to Macau. And as the grid is cleared then, the 1-minute board shown, and so in a few moments time the cars will be released. Everybody dashing through the gaps in the barriers. And so for the first time since 2019, a Formula 3 grid is assembled, and a truly international one at that. As the cars are about to be released, you've got drivers from the Netherlands, from the Czech Republic, from America, from Austria, from Peru, from Sweden, from Italy, Estonia, Britain, France, Spain, Colombia. Keep going. There's Mexico, there's Australia, Bulgaria, Barbados, Norway. I'm sure I've missed one. Green flag shown. Everybody blast away then. An opportunity to get warmth into the tyres as they accelerate down towards that very fast first left-hand corner on this anti-clockwise circuit of Reservoir Bend. And then the speed builds from here on in and go racing. There's a DRS zone as well coming out of this hugely fast corner of Mandarin. So everybody is away, chased by the sweeper cars, the medical cars, and this is the fastest part of the circuit, all the way from Lisboa, sorry, down to Lisboa. From Reservoir, you have Mandarin, and then the speed continues to build and build and build, and then it's heavy braking. And this shot from the high camera looking down doesn't really give you the impression that the onboard does, far from it, of where you can barely see the corner. You can see barriers left and right, and then there's effectively a gap in the Armco, and that's where you turn right. And it's no wonder people make mistakes there, because trying to identify the corner and where you are and where you're meant to be braking, so difficult. But it's one of the challenges of Macau, and it's one of the reasons why the drivers love it so much. Then you climb up San Francisco Hill. The cars wriggle their way up past the hospital through maternity, and then drop down through towards Teddy Yip, the man behind the Theodore Racing Formula One team. And even to this day, the Theodore Racing colours and name carried on Formula 3 and GT and Formula 4 cars last week. Gabriele Mini here driving for the Prima team, which was the winner of Formula 4 last week at Macau. 2 weekends this year, with it being an anniversary year. And it was the British driver Arvid Lindblad that won the F4 race for Prema a week ago. So it's been a very long, busy, but so far successful foray to the Far East for René Rossin's team. They come out of Moorish and make the climb up the hill towards the longer left at Donna Maria, and then down the short run towards the Melco hairpin, which is where you will find them going into first gear, where there is a permanent yellow flag to make sure that people don't get all heroic and try and overtake, because it is impossible to get two cars side by side out of the corner. And it means that on the run down the hill, speed builds. You think the road opens up. It doesn't yet, coming through Black Sands, but then it does as you approach the very fast right of Fisherman's Bend, which is where Luke Browning is heading for now, and then into R Bend, which is another quick corner, but with a wall on the outside that is ready to bite you. That in turn brings you over the start and finish line. But from here in race trim, you're getting faster and faster. The cars now able to stretch their legs through Fisherman's, R Bend, over the line, then there's Reservoir, then there is Mandarin, then there is the run to Lisboa. So you're arriving there fiendishly fast. And so now pressure mounts. Drivers have got warmth into the tyres. They know the importance of this race. It doesn't give you the win in the Grand Prix, but it does give you a good grid position. That could give you a win in the Grand Prix. And so 10 laps is the journey. This is the qualification race for the Macau Formula 3 Grand Prix, the qualifying race for the FIA Formula 3 World Cup. It is a one-by-one staggered grid, 26 drivers, some new to Macau, some returning to Macau, 2 previous winners, and this is going to be good. Last couple of cars to come out of our bends. The last driver on the grid will be Tommy Smith. On the far left there, David Kennedy, who has been a stalwart racer for more decades than anybody cares to remember, successfully too as well, the Irish driver, and part of Teddy Yip's programme in the late 1970s, and he's remained with Theodore Racing. He was here last week overseeing the F4 squad, and the same again in F3. Tommy Smith's car is the last one to arrive on the grid. That's the pole man, Luke Browning, and he is set to look at the lights for the qualifying race for the Formula 3 Macau Grand Prix.
Doesn't it look fantastic? The green flag waved at the back of the field. The qualification race about to get underway for the Formula 3 cars, the Macau Grand Prix. The first leg is underway, and a great start from pole position by Luke Browning. Interesting to hear from the drivers down on the grid. I couldn't see their smiles, but you could see the eyes were smiling, because it is just a great opportunity. Side by side, Gabriele Mini goes to the outside around Mandarin. Wow, side by side through Mandarin. They're still side by side for the lead of the race down towards Lisboa. It's Luke Browning from pole position that has the inside line. He just gets the advantage. Gabriele Mini has a look down the outside, then jinks to the inside, but it's still Luke Browning. Wow, side by side through Mandarin, eh?
Fantastic racing, and Luke Browning stood his ground then. Gabriele Mini threw everything, and that is Sophia Flörsch tries to gain a place, heading up San Francisco Hill round the outside of the Campos racing car. She's done it, she's gone by, so Sophia Flörsch gains a place, but Luke Browning said, no, 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 Gabriele, you are not coming past. So, Browning the Brit leads, Gabriele Mini in second spot, and then I think it's Dino Boganovic's teammate in third. But look, Luke Browning exploiting his confidence on the cold tyres, because he's getting away already. He's, what, about 6 lengths ahead already, and next time around the DRS will be activated. If you think they're quick now going to Lisboa, just you wait.
That's the first time we've seen that over the course of this weekend, isn't it? It's DRS activated on the run. Is it from Mandarin down to Lisboa? Yeah. Wow, as if they didn't need anything more to think about. They've now got DRS as well on that run to the overtaking point. Fair play to Sophia Flörsch. I've not seen that done very often, particularly on the opening lap up San Francisco Hill.
No, I think the Campos racing car ahead had made a mistake, in fairness, which is why she was able to keep the momentum and go by. But even so, it was a good pass, and you're looking back then now as the cars dive down towards Black Sands for the first time in this 10-lap race. Luke Browning leading the way from Gabriele Mini, but it is a large lead. Look at that at the end of a lap. Luke Browning has already managed to pull clear by getting on for 2 seconds, if not more, from Mini in second place, and then in third as they come through. It is Alex Dunn, 6th to 3rd in a lap on your debut at Macau.
He sounded pretty cool on the grid, didn't he? My goodness, and he is. And now we've got a car park up at the Melco hairpin. 3-point turns, 6-point turns, 24-point turns. They've got to get those cars around.
One of them is Matthias Zagazzetta. There's another one, as you saw, involved as Luke Browning then leads the way at the end of lap 1. The gap was 1.8 seconds then. There is Alex Dunn coming under attack from Dino Boganovic, who will try to use that DRS to get into a challenging position. Coming down towards Lisboa. Boganovic goes to the inside line, but Alex Dunn is able to fend him off. That was good defensive driving by Dunn.
It certainly was, yeah. A cracking opening lap for Alex Dunn, coming all the way up the order, 6th on the grid, now 3rd. And then we've got a car park at Lisboa. So both of them have gone nose in. One of them is the number 3 car of Ugo Gachukwu.
The other is Ticktum. Dan Ticktum is in the wall then, so the double Macau winner is in the barriers. Virtual safety car is called, and Dan Ticktum's dream of another Macau win is done. Here's what happened, Al.
It certainly is. It's the run down towards Lisboa. Neither of them can turn in. They both go straight on. And I'm absolutely staggered that still we get the sort of wide-eyed, cheeky smile at the camera for Dan Ticktum. That was most peculiar, as they both are now locked together on the tyre barrier on the outside of Lisboa.
Ugo Gachukwu was the brave one on the inside, but it was never going to work. He clattered over the curb, and Dan Ticktum was the kind of innocent party. There was nowhere he could go. He was taken out, really, by Ugo Gachukwu's ambition on the inside. And Ugo Gachukwu was in the wall yesterday when he got a bit giddy. He's been really quick round here, but there's a rough edge or two that needs filing off.
It often happens on the first visit to Macau, and then they come back having ironed out all of the problems the next year and absolutely blast the place. And Luke Browning, the leader of the race, is rather blasting things on his first visit to the circuit. This is superb.
The other one that got involved in the dramas down at Melco, I think, was Marcus Armstrong, but I'm not quite sure how he'd gone from 5th on the grid to being that far back anyway. But Armstrong, I think, has been delayed somewhere along the line. So we're under a virtual safety car then. So the race continues. Marcus Armstrong is coming down the pit lane. So dramas for the New Zealand driver. And the virtual safety car means the race carries on, albeit under controlled conditions, and you don't need to throw a safety car. The virtual safety car means everybody has to slow straight away rather than having to find the safety car and racing to the end of the lap. So it slows the pace down instantly and gives everybody a bit more time to work safely to get the cars out of the way. So the race director, Rui Marquez, calls for it, and wow, in a rather undignified but rapid fashion, the car of Ugo Gachukwu is, well, I was going to say suspended, but actually thrown outside the perimeter of the circuit.
Imagine how quickly the crane operator had to find the lever that makes it go higher quickly, because he just did very quickly, and a situation avoided there. Luke Browning has been perfect here. He's got the lead of the race, got a big gap actually behind the virtual safety car for Gabriele Mini, he has equally been superb this weekend.
He has, and now we're going to go safety car by the look of it, because Marcus Armstrong comes out of the pit lane. Now that's not the leader, so in theory the safety car should wave him by. Replay of Dan Ticktum, he turns in and bang, up the inside comes Uga Chukwu. Nothing Ticktum could do.
No, absolutely nothing. That makes a trio of victories this year for Dan Ticktum very difficult indeed.
Does indeed. So he will be at the back of the grid for the main race. What was he saying to you about being able to overtake early on? Well, that was what Uga Chukwu tried to do, and it didn't work for him. Now, Marcus Armstrong here is still trapped behind the safety car. Maybe after Lisboa, they will let him go. They don't want him to go now, perhaps, because there are marshals working. But once you've gone through that zone, they might be able to wave him by so he can catch the queue.
I think Dan, when he said 5 cars on the opening lap, I think he was playing with us. He's got that kind of sense of humour. He does it with a little sort of a smile. But, well, yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but Alex Dunn got 3.
He did,
so,
yeah.
you know,
He did, yeah.
It's doable. Right, we're under safety car conditions then, but we haven't yet got the race leader behind the safety car. So Marcus Armstrong at the moment is the one being slightly impeded, but I'm pretty confident that once they get out of Lisboa past the course workers, he'll be allowed by and he can speed up. So dramatic start, and I was saying early on that there'll be some hard luck stories after this. Marcus Armstrong is waved through, and Luke Browning is the race leader. Marcus Armstrong, having made a pit stop, escapes going a lap down. Replay of the start, and there you can see a great getaway by Luke Browning, but Gabriele Mini's bravery really stood out, didn't it? He came out of reservoir, he lined up Luke Browning here, he was in the tow, and he made the move, went to the outside line, which in itself is brave. It worked as well. The two of them went toe-to-toe. Mini oh so marginally ahead by about a fraction, but then Luke Browning did not give in, and he ran absolutely side by side all the way down towards Lisboa. Look at Alex Dunn. Brake very, very late, almost had a cheeky look at second place, whereas Dino Boganovic braked early, and that cost him ground.
I think at one point Luke Browning just maybe had a glance in the mirrors and realised he needed to defend going into the corner, not just from Gabriele Mini, who was side by side, but yeah, Alex Dunn was going so well. He was potentially looking for being on the back of Luke Browning going through Lisboa himself.
Now, the safety car, as you have seen, is out. In the background, there is a yellow flag as Dan Ticktum's car is taken away. But around the circuit this year, there are 21 electronic flags being trialled to enhance the safety, particularly at the blind spots at different parts of the circuit. So it's to supplement the manual flags. No reduction in the number of the flag marshals. It's just to make things even safer for the drivers. And those electronic flag signals, the lights will be for reds and yellows, and the safety car and the virtual safety car. So although the Macau Grand Prix circuit is unchanged since its first event in 1954, it continues to move with the times and become as safe as it can be.
It evolves every year. Something evolves about Macau and the Grand Prix weekend, which is 4 days historically over the Macau Grand Prix weekends, and previously we have had a weekend for the celebration of 70 years of the Macau Grand Prix.
We're looking from Gabriele Mini's car at the start as he accelerates down to the outside of Mandarin alongside Luke Browning, who does not give up, They go absolutely wheel to wheel, and Gabriele thinks about looking across, but look, there is Luke Browning's nose cone getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and under braking he's got the inside line, and Luke Browning not only goes back ahead but was able to just move across in front and get the line for the corner. That was fantastic late braking by Luke Browning, and look, coming out of San Francisco, he's away.
Yeah, he is absolutely fantastic start, wasn't it? Side by side down through Mandarin, the advantage just held by Gabriele Mini, and then Luke Browning just getting the defence perfect into Lisboa to maintain the advantage. The advantage that is now rather eroded under the control of the safety car, and Luke Browning helps the field behind the Lamborghini. And Gabriele Mini, just look, a quick burst of acceleration to try and get a bit of heat into the tyres. That's what this is all about. If they can maintain as much heat as they can, then the restart is going to be that much more simple. I haven't had an indication that the safety car is coming in, so it continues on its way. 2 laps completed now. That's to complete 3 laps for this qualification race for the Formula 3 Macau Grand Prix. And now the wide part of the circuit that they can weave the cars. It's pretty warm down there, you know, in the sunshine.
Yep, concur. So Luke Browning, the race leader, ahead of Gabriele Mini and Alex Dunn. So rookies all, first, second and third, and fourth and fifth, and sixth and seventh and eighth and ninth and 10th. The order is Luke Browning ahead of Gabriele Mini, Alex Dunn third, Dino Beganovic fourth ahead of Dennis Hauger and Paul Aaron. Isaac Hadjar is in seventh, and he went backwards ahead of Mari Boyer, Pepe Marti. Zane Maloney, the man from Barbados, the Bahrain driver, is in 10th. Replay at the start from on board with Dan Tickton. Now this is going to be busy, isn't it, as he tries to get past Nikola Solov, 23 on the right. And he does a Mini. He goes to the outside, going down towards Mandarin, ultra-fast part of the circuit. Whoa, right up against the wall on the outside. That was fag paper stuff, wasn't it, between wheel and wall there? There was nothing.
Brave, wasn't it, from Dan Tickton? And he was going for the 5 places, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he got 4 maybe, but coming out of the corner, just marred in the traffic. Couldn't really make progress after that point, but the car control, the precision, extraordinary. Sophia Flörsch we're on board with now.
So Sophia Flörsch, yeah, has gone really well this weekend. 3rd visit here to Macau, and you can see the traffic queue in front. She's been going really well on the first sector of the circuit, and you can see Dan Tickton over there on the left-hand side, making up that place through Mandarin. No lift there, off the line, blinded by the light, going on the run down towards Lisboa. We talk about this overtaking opportunity at Lisboa. You're now factoring in the early evening sunshine, low in the sky. Sophia Flörsch just picking her way through Lisboa, keeping out of the trouble that potentially lay ahead. And then this manoeuvre coming out of San Francisco and up the hill. So 1 place taken.
Goes now through the approach to maternity. And interesting, wasn't it, as she was sort of stuck in traffic and having to slow, waiting for the corner, almost as though it was, where is it? There were others on the outside just tonking past, and they were able to dive through and find a gap and turn into the corner. So you can understand why Lisboa is such an important part of the circuit, both in terms of attacking and defending. Safety car will be in this time. We'll be back racing at the end of lap 4 of the 10.
So 4 laps completed at the end of this one, with the notification that the safety car is coming in. They're going to have to utilise the last few corners of this lap and make sure the tyres are fully up to temperature. We're absolutely on it for the restart. We had that wonderful moment, didn't we, going down to Lisboa through Mandarin, of Gabriele Mini and Luke Browning side by side, battling it out for the lead of the race down into Lisboa. What's going to happen on the restart? The safety car threads away around the Macau hairpin. The field follow through. Gabriele Mini are going to make the use of every single moment just to wiggle the car, just to get that last little bit of temperature into the tyres. Luke Browning can do it now because the circuit opens up a little bit, gets a little bit wider, a little bit safer to weave the car and get heat into the tyres. Here we go, restart about to happen. Formula 3 at Macau.
So the safety car will peel in. Luke Browning has got Gabriele Mini right up behind him. Gabriele has got a second guess when Luke is going to pull the trigger. He's still jinking around and get warmth into the rubber. The green flag is ready on the start line. Alex Dunn, Dino Beganovic, 3rd and 4th are right there. So is Dennis Hauger, 5th, and Luke Browning now goes, and he gets sideways. The car wasn't quite with enough tire temperature, but he's still stolen a march of a couple of lengths. But that was a bit of a scare he could have done without. Over the line they go. The margin, 0.3 of a second. That's enough, I think, for Gabriele Mini to think about the toe on the way down towards Lisboa. Browning goes left and right to break the toe. Beganovic is on his toes to get past Alex Dunn for 3rd place. This is going to be really crucial down to Lisboa this time, because Gabriele Mini could get the race lead. Beganovic could get 3rd as they dive down to the braking zone. Browning is being attacked on all sides. Dunn to the inside. Mini on the outside. Who's going to be the race leader? It's Luke Browning who breaks later. Dunn goes 2nd. Fantastic!
That was awesome, wasn't it? Alex Dunn had set that up. Gabriele Mini was on the outside and no way around Luke Browning, and Alex Dunn had planned that. He knew exactly what he was doing. He got a good restart. Luke Browning, meanwhile, really did take everybody by surprise, putting the pin, coming around the final corner. No one was expecting that.
No, he nearly caught himself out, though, as he saw the car go sideways, yeah. And Alex Dunn, having taken 2nd off Mini, was even sideways coming out of Lisboa.
Wow.
Alex Dunn is becoming an absolute megastar, and Gabriele Mini has had his hat nailed on there now, hasn't he? Because he's fallen back into 3rd place and hasn't been able to stay with them on the climb up the hill. Browning's car still looking as though it's a little bit more nervous than that of Alex Dunn, but it's not phasing Luke Browning, because he's now done an absolute best 3rd sector as he tries to build the lead. But Alex Dunn, who's never raced a Formula 3 car, never mind even been to Macau, there he is. charging along now in that second place.
I was impressed how cool and calm and collected Alex Dunn was on the grid, just relishing the opportunity of driving the gear circuit here at Macau. And boy, is he equipping himself well this weekend, isn't he? Up into second, past Gabriele Mini, who has been pretty much the benchmark over the course of the first 2 days this weekend. And yeah, Alex Dunn, a perfect manoeuvre, very, very clean as well.
There is Alex Dunn, runner-up this year in the GB3 Championship. He took 5 race wins, but he lost out to Callum Voisin in the Championship. He was the 2022 British F4 champion with 11 wins. And his father, Noel Dunn, a very handy Formula Ford racer at amateur level, but, you know, there's good racing genes as the leaders go by, and the lead gap is 1.4 seconds. That's what we need to monitor now. Mini is in 3rd place, and DRS will be activated on this lap in 4th position. Dino Beganovic in 5th place, Dennis Hauger, 6th is Aram. Well, this is Mini, but he's not going to benefit, I don't think, from the DRS because he's just about a second back, and that's too far out of range.
Yeah, and a fastest lap of the race without too much to consider on the final pass of that lap was Luke Browning. He was putting in the fastest sectors.
Big dive up the inside there from Pepe Marti. He goes through. Murray Boyer goes through as well. I think that was Isaac Hadjar that was losing out. Isaac Hadjar falling back in the queue. So again, the benefit of out braking and being brave into Lisboa works for Summers. We're now on lap 6 of the qualifying race. And Gabriele Mini, I think he's going to have a bit of head-scratching after this race. As you say, he's been one of the benchmark drivers all weekend, and yet, rather than gaining, he's been losing out, and he's pushed back to 3rd.
Richard Lacheur, who won this race, won the Macau Grand Prix in 2019, the last time Formula 3 cars were here, has just gone purple in Sector 1, so overall best in Sector 1. And Alex Dunn has put in a purple in Sector 2. In Sector 2, Alex Dunn goes quickest. In Sector 3, Luke Browning goes quickest. So a tantalising prospect this at the end of the last lap. 1.4 was the advantage for Luke Browning over Alex Dunn, but they are trading fastest sectors now. This is great.
It is indeed. So Browning from Dunn from Mini, and best of those that have ever raced here, Richard Lacheur in 12th place. So really impressive to see how the drivers are getting on. And how they're developing over the course of the weekend. Alex Dunn started in free practice 1 hesitantly, but got more familiar with the circuit, more confident, and he's really come on a pace over the course of the weekend. So 6th to 2nd. Here in the meantime, 27 Dennis Hauger ahead of Paul Aram, that's for 5th. For 7th, Isaac Hadjar ahead of then the queue behind Pepe Marti, having jumped ahead of him. So you've got there Pepe Marti, Murray Boyer, and then Isaac Hadjar, who's fallen back, and he'll be under attack soon from Zane Maloney. Alex Dunn, fastest lap, 1.3 seconds. It's come down by a 10th.
Yeah, it's come down by a 10th, and they were trading the quickest sectors of the lap. So Alex Dunn quickest in sectors 2 and 5. Luke Browning quickest in sectors 3 and 4. The net result is that 1/10 is gained by Alex Dunn in 2nd place on Luke Browning, the race leader, and then they turn into the right-hander at Lisboa now. And Alex Dunn with the fastest lap of the race at 2:06.7 now. Rest of the field all far through Lisboa. This is good running by Luke Browning by Alex Dunn. Gabriele Mini is 1.4 seconds behind now in 3rd place. You see, you can have really good pace around this circuit, but if you lose a couple of places, not only have you got to be close enough to have a look at making a manoeuvre, you've also got to be doing that in the right part of the circuit as well.
And equally, you can have good pace, but you can sacrifice some of your lap and go slowly at the narrow bits to stack them up behind in the knowledge, with the confidence you can go quicker and pull away where you need to. Here, you don't necessarily need to be absolutely flat out in the lead because no one's going to get past you. It's too narrow. You can be savvy and use the speed of your car where you need it. This is Sophia Flörsch, who is currently running in 15th place. These 3.4-litre Mecachrome engine cars do make a great growly noise that's just right, I think, for the streets of Macau. From Police to Moorish goes Sophia Flörsch. This one of the narrowest sections of all.
Turning right into Moorish corner, it has caught out many over the years, which leads on to the long left-hander, Donna Maria. Tightens up on the exit, see the barrier on the exit as they now go downhill towards the Melco hairpin. Single file, they turn. No easy feat to get a Formula 3 car around the Melco hairpin. Pulling at the wheel and then down. The circuit opens up. Black Sands down towards Fisherman's Bend. The really quick part of the circuit. Great this, the on board with Sophia Flörsch.
There's your race leader, Luke Browning. It was 1.4, it was 1.3, it remains at 1.3 does the lead gap. Alex Dunn in second spot, and he's 1.3 seconds in turn ahead of Gabriele Mini. The Prema drivers third and fourth. Mini and Baganovic here are going to have a lot of thinking to do overnight. This is a bit unlike Prema, not to be able to combat the efforts of High-Tech Pulse 8. At the moment, that's the team with a 1-2. Browning and Dunn, different colour schemes, but they are teammates at Olio squad. Now, their fifth is Dennis Hauger, and he's fallen a long way back now, almost being put under pressure. Look by Paul Aaron behind him. Challenge being made there. It's Richard Verschoor looking for a way past Charlie Wurtz, but the 2019 Macau Grand Prix winner unable to find the gap.
It's weird, isn't it, when you've got a winner, a former winner here at Macau, but you have to bear in mind 3 years since they've been here, so he won the last Formula 3 race here at Macau. They've been driving different machinery between now and then. You get used to the different machinery. If you've had a full year in these cars and you know the cars, and I'm now going to disagree with myself because Alex Dunn doesn't, but he's going tremendously well. He's an exception, but if you have got used to the cars, if you know what you're doing in the cars, then it is generally an advantage.
I wonder whether it's easier to step up than step down.
Yeah.
Because maybe if you're stepping back into F3, you're kind of expecting the car to do what it did in F2, whereas if you're stepping up, you're learning and you're catching up to the car, which Alex Dunn has now managed to achieve. This is Gabriele Mini's view. That dot in the distance is Alex Dunn, and he's approaching the Melco hairpin. So you go down to first gear, crank it to the right, on the power, drag it out the corner the other side, skim the barrier, skim the wall, down the hill. Gabriele Mini throwing everything at this. Now, bear in mind as well that part of the story in this race and tomorrow's is going to be how they use those 4 sets of tyres, because there'll be some drivers here on newer tyres than others. Some might be running, I'd be surprised if they were, but they might be running a full used set for the qualifying race and keeping a fresh set for the Grand Prix. Others might be mixing and matching 2 used and 2 new tyres. And I think part of the story is who has done what with tyre allocation and tyre choice here.
And just enjoying this wonderful opportunity to ride on board with Gabriele Mini and listening to the engine tone as well through Mandarin. Wow. Even as a commentator, you hold your breath and then down on the run in towards Lisboa. It is something special, isn't it? These onboards are fantastic this weekend, and to be riding on board with Gabriele Mini in third place, but also one of the quickest drivers here this weekend is a bit of a treat.
Wurtz versus Verschoor again. This is only for 11th place, but Charlie Wurtz is able to keep Richard Verschoor at bay. So the Austrian driver for Jensen Motorsport, Formula 4 champion, is Charlie, but he's keeping at bay a man with a lot more Macau experience. Luke Browning then, the gap went up last time, 2.5. So I think now Alex Dunn is going to have to settle for that second place unless he can force an error out of Luke Browning, which might be possible, because bear in mind at the start of a free practice session on an outlet we had Luke with a wonky wing. We never saw what had happened to the wing, but it may well have been that he skimmed something.
And there was a problem later on as well, wasn't there, for Luke?
I think you're right, yes.
Yeah, so there were 2 problems at the start of the session, and then at the end of the day, things went really rather well. And at the moment, he's being a machine, because he's putting in fastest lap after fastest lap, lap after lap after lap. Bear in mind, he's got an advantage of 1.5 seconds over Alex Dunn in second place, which means he's not under immediate pressure. He's got clear track in front, a bit of clear track behind, so he can pick his lines. He can keep putting in those quick laps, and he's doing so. 2:06.257, which equates to an advantage of 1.5 seconds for Luke Browning. Really going well. And also, dare I say it, they have been able to get into a groove. They're doing lap after lap. That's the first time this weekend they've had so many laps without interruption.
Yeah, you're right, and it's great to see, isn't it, a proper rhythm now being established by the drivers, and you can see the pattern of the race emerging, because normally we've had an outlap, half a flyer and a red flag, and then we have to go again, and it's been so bitty over the course of the 2 days. They're on the last lap of the race, the board is there, Browning to Dunn is up to 1.7 seconds, and a very frustrated Gabriele Mini will round out the top 3. We're not done yet, though, because further back, look, Pepe Marti has got Isaac Hadjar behind him. You saw Marti going left and right to try and break the toe, and Hadjar doing the same thing to stay with him. And there, change of place, Paul Aaron losing out to Mari Boyer. The MP Motorsport orange car goes 6th. The Spanish driver Mari Boyer gets ahead of the Estonian.
Good little battle, that, isn't it? There are battles right the way down the order, but it is the final lap. Luke Browning it is that leads from Alex Dunn. Alex will be very, very happy with the race he's had, getting up into 2nd place from 6th place on the grid. Luke Browning can be even more happy because he has been pretty much, as the race has gone on, unchallenged there at the front of the field, able to put in a fastest lap after a fastest lap. The last lap was a 2:06.273. The best lap was a 2:06.257. So just metronomic putting these quick laps in for Luke Browning. Very impressive this for Luke. Very impressive for Alex Dunn, and slightly frustrating for Gabriele Mini.
Certainly is. As there Luke Browning heads down towards Melco. Comes through that tight right-hander, and as the field comes through then, we've got just a couple of corners to go for Luke Browning, Alex Dunn, Gabriele Mini, the top 3. And there is Luke Browning then, who is about to come from Fisherman's Bend, absolutely on the limit and so close to the wall again. Last lap, last couple of corners, but there's nothing being left on the table, and what a drive this has been for Luke Browning.
It's been absolutely supreme, isn't it? Luke Browning takes the checkered flag, the qualifying race for the Macau Grand Prix. The 70th Macau Grand Prix tomorrow. A round of applause for Luke Browning, absolutely superb. The advantage over Alex Dunn, who also gets a round of applause, is in 2nd place. The advantage, 2 seconds Luke Browning has over Alex Dunn, and then 2 seconds back to Gabriele Mini in 3rd place. What a super clean race that was.
Fantastic.
Few little skirmishes early on. No need for anything more than the safety car. They could get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Luke Browning in particular could metronomically put in fastest laps of the race, lap after lap. And Luke Browning, Alex Dunn can both be very, very proud of what they've done. Gabriele Mini may be slightly frustrated to be down in 3rd, but that was a qualification race. It means that lining up on the front of the grid for the 70th Macau Grand Prix, he's going to feel pretty good about that, is Luke Browning.
Absolutely, I think that was a that's what we've been waiting for, really,
yes,
for about 10 days.
Yeah.
Because even the F4 race last week, the equivalent F4 race, was very bitty. But that was great. And so, yes, a round of applause for Luke Browning, brilliant Macau debut. Alex Dunn, F3 and Macau debut, to be 2nd from 6th on the grid. Very, very impressive indeed. Really good, that. And then Gabriele Mini in 3rd place. But they've now got representative data. So if Gabriele Mini is able to make the odd tweak to the car and get a good start, he's not out of the game for tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see what pans out when we get to the Grand Prix itself tomorrow afternoon, isn't it?
So Luke Browning makes his way around the circuit. Very happy with today's work. Hasn't put a wheel wrong. Had to defend, had to do it cleanly, did it beautifully. And Alex Dunn to be very proud of making his way up from 6th on the grid to finishing in 2nd place. The two of them going round together. The 2 drivers that started their car racing career, racing in championships based in the UK.
Yes.
And as Luke Browning makes his way, just giving a wave to the marshals around the circuit as well. And pretty cool, you know. I was worried before the race got underway, but I wouldn't get the chance to chat to the drivers in the cockpit. Single-seater drivers can be a little bit focused before the start of the race, and very often don't want to be talked to when they're in the cockpit, when they're in the office. And Luke, as soon as I made eye contact, he was smiling and he beckoned me over. So too did Alex Dunn.
I just find it fascinating that drivers that have had a tough season in FIA Formula 3 come here to the toughest circuit of all and excel. All right, not everybody from the European Championship is here. I get that, so that changes the order a little bit. But, you know, Luke Browning, I made the point on the grid, he had 1 second place as his best result. His only podium visit, he was 15th in the Championship. It was a tough year, and yet he comes here and absolutely nails Macau, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's a way of finishing the year on a high, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are remembered not just for the closed season between November and the start of next season, but also forever, because you write your name into the history books here at Macau, which is no mean feat, and Luke Browning has done that to great effect. I always think that if a driver has been awarded the Aston Martin Autosport BRDC Young Driver of the Year, they've got something special, because they dig down.
Yeah.
They dig deep into the abilities of the driver. It's a real test over a couple of days at Silverstone in the UK, and there are some very learned people that do the judging in that award, and Luke Browning is a recipient of that, and he is also a winner at Macau, and he stands on top of the car, enjoys every single moment of it, remembers to pop the steering wheel back on, and that's an important part of it, and then cannot wait to get the hands device off and celebrate with the team. That's what it means to win at Macau. He's on pole for tomorrow's Macau Grand Prix, 70th Macau Grand Prix, as a result of winning that race, and it wasn't easy. He had to defend, and he had to keep it all together, and he did it, and he did it brilliantly.
For Ollie Oakes' high-tech Pulse 8 team, there are lots of congratulations and celebrations, and for Alex Dunn for second spot.
Oh yeah.
And a 1-2 for the team. It's easy to overlook that given the different liveries of the cars, but as I say, they are from the same stable, and Alex Dunn, a tremendous drive that, and benefiting a little bit from Gabriele Mini trying to attack Luke Browning, but leaving the door open on the inside, and Alex Dunn needed no second invitation.
Hugs all round, and yeah, that's Alex Dunn taking the earpieces out, still with the helmet on for Luke Browning.
Gabriele Mini looks sort of sanguine about that, but he knows he's going to have to be on his toes on that first lap tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they can plan that, can't they? And a big broad smile for Luke Browning, ushered away, and it will be up to the podium in due course, and a weigh-in as well, all about to take place, a confirmation of the result. Luke Browning, car number 11 for High-Tech Pulse 8, takes the win. Alex Dunn in second place, super race by both. Gabriele Mini finishes up in car number 9 for the Theodore Prema Racing team in third place. Dino Bogdanovic in fourth place, Dennis Hauger in fifth, Mari Boyer in sixth place. Great battle with Paul and Ron in seventh place in car number 10. And Luke Browning, Alex Dunn and Gabriele Mini are making their way up towards the podium. So the fans that have stayed here all day and packed the grandstands are now awaiting expectantly, actually looking down at the podium. How many photographers can you cram onto the pit wall in the evening sunshine ahead of this podium? And that shows you just how much this means around the world for a win at Macau. That was only the qualification race. We've got a longer race tomorrow. It's another third again. It's a 15-lap race tomorrow that we'll expect. And disappointment for a double winner, Dan Ticktum, finishing up in the tyre barriers down at Lisboa.
Yeah, I mean, that move by Ugo Chukwu was keen, but you could argue on the one hand he could have waited. The other argument is, well, you get so few opportunities to overtake. He had to take it, but he was so late on the brakes. I think he was going off anyway. Dan Ticktum just had nowhere to go, so you have to feel a bit for Dan Ticktum in that situation.
One of the key things to going well at Macau is to be patient. You have to think about it, you have to work it out, and taking risks very often finishes up not going according to plan. So patience is a virtue around the streets of Macau, because, as you said, David, Macau bites.
It does indeed, and it has bitten one or two drivers today, but it has also generated a victory for Luke Browning. Rene Rossin just in front of the shot there, David Kennedy over his left shoulder at the Prema Racing, SJM Theodore Racing collaboration. And yeah, the attitude at Prema is, that wasn't what we expected.
Yeah, bit of work to do, bit of thinking to do overnight.
Yeah.
And no doubt many discussions in the debrief after that.
Yeah, it's all a bit reserved, isn't it, to say the very least. You know, third is not a bad result, but it is for Prema. who come here with such a great reputation, whether it's in Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 4, or these days in sports prototype racing. Yeah, I don't think I think they expected Gabrielli to get ahead at the start, certainly not to go backwards. That wasn't in the game plan.
Love the winner's car underneath the podium as well. It's very good down there. It's a busy podium. Watch the GT podium just before we got this grid aligned. And also interesting to watch the precision with which the grid boards are delivered to the various spots along with the number. It's beautifully done. It's so well drilled.
Well, there is the podium being made ready, and the officials making sure that the right people are in the right place, and then the drivers can be called forward, and the trophies and the celebrations can get underway. Only the qualifying race, but it means a lot to Luke Browning, Alex Dunn and Gabriele Mini, as they are the top 3 drivers here in the Formula 3 Grand Prix qualifying race. It determines the grid positions for tomorrow, but tomorrow's longer race is the one where all the pressure will come when we get to the 70th Macau Grand Prix. It started as a sports car race, and this celebrating not only 70 years of the event, but 40 years since Formula 3 became the headline category, and after the imposed hiatus of Formula 3 cars and international drivers, it's great to have such a fantastic field back, an international field back in 2023. So Gabriele Mini third, Alex Dunn second, and Luke Browning, the qualifying race winner, will very shortly make their way to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 70th Macau Grand Prix. Here comes the Formula 3 Macau Grand Prix FIA F3 World Cup qualifying race trophy presentation ceremony. First of all, let's welcome the top 3 finishers to the podium. On second runner-up, number 9, Gabriele Mini. Driver from Italy. And on first runner-up, number 14, Alex Dunn. Our driver from Ireland. Congratulations. And the winner is number 11, Luke Browning, the UK driver. Congratulations to the top 3 winners. And now I would like to invite the following guests to present the laurel and trophy to our top 3 finishers. First, let's welcome Mr. Benjamin To, Chief Operating Officer of Finance and Development of SJM Resorts SA, to present the laurel and trophy to our second runner-up driver, please. Congratulations to second runner-up, Gabriele Mini. Thank you, Mr. To. And now I would like to invite Ms. Angela Leung, Director of SJM Resorts SA, to present the laurel and trophy to the first runner-up, Alex Dunn. Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Leung. And last but not the least, let's welcome Mr. Pon Wang Kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to present the laurel and trophy to the winner, Luke Browning. Congratulations. Thank you, all the guests. Please gather at the center and take a group photo with the drivers. To the winners, please reach to the top of the podium together. Yes. Thank you, and take this group picture together. Please look to the front. Thank you. Once again, a loud cheers to the winners.